to match up with Matthew Stafford and the Detroit Lions. And this will not be returnable. It's out of the back of the end zone for a touchback. Now the Auburn product, Corey Grant.
On any explosive run, you can almost feel the ground shaking, and that's from the offensive linemen creating space for their runners. I had an old coach tell me before, they always told his runners, run around the offensive line in pregame. Get used to the ground shaking so you don't trip and fall when it happens in a game.
Rush in, rush in, rush in. 25.
Kelly, don't let Kelly. Yeah, Liz.
Kill, turn up.
Snap comes at 1. Into heavy traffic, and it's intercepted. Picked off by Rashawn Melvin, and he's just across midfield and down at the 49-yard line. Well, certainly not how he wanted to start his night. First throw of the game, an INT.
Yeah, it's not easy, but he's got to try and wipe that one away from the memory banks. And let's face it, it's not often a quarterback and a defensive back have a lot in common. But one thing, because they have these individual-type plays, they've got to have short memories, don't they? DB gets beat, wipe it away, quarterback throws a pick, has to do the same thing.
And he's not going anywhere to start the night. They stop him at the line of scrimmage. No gain on the play. It'll be second down. He couldn't get the edge there. It wasn't sealed, so maybe not all on the guy running the football all the time on those tosses and the pitches that go to the outside.
No, not at all. I would agree with that totally, because sometimes the defensive guys, they win the edge battle.
Nowhere to escape, and he goes down. Rashawn Gary make that now 8 sacks for him on the season.
For a rookie first-rounder, he's made a huge impact on this defense, but that tells me that they had a plan for him when they drafted him. Just turn him loose, do what you do best, go get the quarterback.
After the sack, Stafford and the Lions come up on a 3rd and long situation. From the gun, here's Stafford. And he finds Danny Amendola. And he'll be brought down at the 45-yard line. It'll be a pickup of 13, but it'll still lead to a 4th down.
They've got good playmakers on the offensive side of the ball. I don't know what happened last week to really hurt their performance and hold down their production, but I would dare say that this week in practice, there's a lot of talk about how they're going to increase their proficiency.
And that was a good start, getting the playmakers involved. You mentioned that to me pregame. That's what they did there.
Yeah, I think a lot of people think the coaching staff really gets on them, and that's how they motivate them. Most of these guys are self-motivated. They have a lot of pride in their performance.
Let's go.
The Green Bay offense now about ready to take possession here. Well, they were intercepted the first time they had the football, but now they get it back, and it's still 0-0.
And because of that, you know what the thought process is? Interception. What interception? It didn't really happen because they gave up no points. So go back on the attack. Go back and run the offense you believe will be successful. Find your playmakers and give them the football.
A 3-yard loss to start the drive. They'll look to make that up and then some on 2nd and 13. Working from the gun, Rodgers. He's got him in, complete. He's at the 30, 10, touchdown, Packers. Devontae Adams, 83 yards, and the Packers have taken the early lead. And correct me if I'm wrong, that was just a simple fly route, wasn't it?
No, there's nothing to correct at all. You've got it down pat. And I just remember as a player, when I'd be in practice sessions and I'd hear 9 from the receivers, that meant fly route, go, look out. That was the 9, and he just kept going all the way into the end zone for the touchdown.
This fielded at the 2. And And he'll be brought down at the 23, make it the 24-yard line.
Lions take over first and 10 at their own 24-yard line.
Here's the Detroit offense now as they head back out onto the field. And the last drive, their first drive, 3 and out. What changes here, if anything?
I think it's making sure the guys that you trust the most with the ball, the biggest playmakers you have, that they touch it on this possession to try and get things moving.
So get it to the horses.
Without a doubt. They're the ones that typically end up in the end zone.
One play has him up past the 40 already, and another 1st and 10. Now Johnson. And he will be brought down at about the 43 that time. 2 yards on the pickup there. It'll be 2nd and 8.
Well, we saw him there trying to get it to the outside, trying to get to the perimeter, but not a whole lot of room there. But there's got to be one positive to that. If you keep moving laterally, creases tend to develop as the game moves up.
Under a heavy rush, and down he goes. Rashawn Gary in there to get him, and on the season now, that is 9 sacks for him. Well, that's 2 sacks in this game, so add that to the 4 from last week. I think that's 6.
Good math. Excellent math. And look, he's going to get all the attention he deserves it. He got home and got the quarterback on the ground. But that's a concentrated team effort because you got a lot of guys who occupy blockers to allow him access to rush the passer.
They get only 4 that time as that leads us to a 4th down.
Well, we hear so often how tackling has become almost a lost art in the NFL game. But it's so important to tackle well on these receivers, especially in a play like this one. 3rd down, they gave him the underneath stuff. You got to go and make the tackle right away.
At their own 5-yard line.
And Green Bay getting ready to go as they take the field. They've got a 7-0 lead in the football as well as they start out 1st and 10. They'll go with their leading rusher from a season ago. This is Aaron Jones. And he'll be brought down. Oh, that's a face mask. Certainly looked like it. Indeed, here come the flags. And now it's 1st and 10. A big mistake, especially when you factor in the personal foul yardage.
I'm letting you know right now, you better bring it.
Here's Grant. It's a pickup of 4, and it'll bring up 2nd down.
When we see those runs to the perimeter, when we see those runs to the edge, we think about big breakers, don't we? In this case, it was a modest gain, but it does open up possibilities here on 2nd down.
The run got 4. Now they deal with a 2nd and 6.
Hey, 40's Mike right there. Hey, orbit. Inside. Check it back. All right.
To throw is Rodgers. He'll rifle this one deep right, and the defense loses him. It's complete. Touchdown, Packers. 2 touchdown passes now here in this first quarter for Aaron Rodgers. And the Packers are able to strike quickly for 6. And I think I saw that right. You tell me if I'm wrong. That was just a fly route, just to go. He went.
Sometimes speed, just pure speed, is going to win. I don't care how athletic you are on the other side of the ball. When a guy's that fast and he can just take off, if the quarterback has time to throw the ball and release it when he wants to, that's the end result. Nothing you can do about that. He was just a better athlete on that play.
1st and 10 at their own 23-yard line.
And Detroit getting set to go now. Already down 2 touchdowns here in the first half. This becomes a pretty important drive, doesn't it?
It certainly does, and a lot of the teams script plays.
And nothing but daylight ahead. He's at the 40, 20, 10, and he takes this one in for a Lions touchdown. Kerryon Johnson, 77 yards. And the Lions strike quickly here for 6 points. Prater for the extra point, and that'll make our score 14-7. After the touchdown, out is Prater to kick. And that'll carry over the back line of the end zone for a touchback. The Packer offense now ready to get back onto the field. And for them, a touchdown their last go-around. Obviously, they'll be hoping to do that again.
And when you start plotting for this drive, when you start thinking to yourself, okay, what are we going to do? You don't go away from what you did before because that worked, but you have to be prepared for wrinkles and counters because you know they'll make some adjustments.
A good pickup there, 21 yards.
Well, from an offense's perspective, that sure was pretty because the corner route is extremely difficult to defend from my perspective.
What we just saw there, is that sort of the evolution of the tight end position?
Yeah, I think it is because more and more, tight ends are being treated like wide receivers. These are some agile players who can make a play in any spot on the field.
Back to the ground, this time with Jones. And they went the wrong way there, losing yardage back at the 43-yard line. It'll be a loss of a yard, and that'll make it 3rd and 13.
We need team 26.
Hey, watch the ball. Watch twist.
Yeah, live.
Slam.
Hey, high 7. Hold the pin.
From the gun, it's Rodgers. He's going to float this one deep right side. And he's got it. It's caught for a Packers touchdown. Aaron Rodgers, 3 first-half touchdown passes. And the Packers add on to their lead. That's a pretty quick response to that last touchdown drive. It seemed like they may be giving up momentum. Not so fast.
No, not at all, because they ended up pushing the lead up once again, and you're exactly right. Thought momentum might have been shifting. Instead, they grabbed old Mo, didn't let him get to the opposite sideline.
The Lions take over 1st and 10 at their own 25-yard line.
Hard to believe, but 6 weeks of the NFL schedule will have come and gone by the conclusion of this one. But coming up Thursday night, a good one to kick off Week 7. Kansas City and Denver from up at Mile High. Kickoff at 8:20 Eastern, 6:20 local there in the midst of the Rockies. That's going to go as a loss of a yard, and it'll be 2nd down. After the loss to start out, here's 2nd and 11. On the toss, here's Johnson. 15 yards on the play, 1st down.
This guy's well on his way now to a big game on the ground. It's another good run there. Puts him over the century mark in yardage, and we're still in the 2nd quarter.
Now on the heels of that run by Johnson, here's another 1st and 10. Stafford now to throw. Throwing the out route, incomplete. It's James. And he'll be out of bounds up near the 45 at the 44.
It certainly feels like there are more stars at the tight end position than there were even 10 years ago. And I think it's become more of a glamour position because of the ways it can hurt a defense, and guys want to be involved. They can be in line, close to the line of scrimmage. They can split out like receivers. But hands, route running, speed, and some toughness to go across the middle, you put it all together, you got a heck of a tight end candidate.
And the Lions 1st down.
So into Packer territory now. Here's 1st and 10 at the 42-yard line. Johnson on the counter. And an alley to run. 9 yards is the pickup there, and they'll have a 2nd and 1.
Despite the blitz, they're still able to pick up a nice, solid game. The disadvantage of blitzing often alters the normal spacing and run fits and leaves creases like they were able to exploit right there.
The last run got 9. That leaves them with 2nd and a yard. Here's Stafford. Looking left side, and he's got a man. It's James. And this time not quite to the 30. It'll be down at the 31-yard line. 2 yards, good enough for a first. Stafford going to come up 1st and 10. And he's a perfect 5 for 5 here to begin the game. They toss it out right to Johnson. And this play will be blown up. He'll lose yardage back at the 38. That's going to go as a loss of 7, and it'll set him back for 2nd down.
Set. Get a 20.
Throwing on second and long. Stafford. Packer pressure, and down he goes. Kenny Clark busting through to get him for a loss of 6.
They were in the top 5 in sacks in the league coming into this one. That's their third one in this game. Obviously, pass rush has been a strength of this team all year long.
And apparently they're not satisfied with top 5. They want to climb that ladder.
Yeah, I think it goes back to their offseason. They decided to make it a priority, and it's working.
And the pressure gets to him again. That sack came from the corner. On the corner blitz, it was Josh Jackson.
I'm starting to feel for that quarterback back there. I mean, you know me. Normally, don't have a lot of empathy for the QB, right? In this case, definitely. He's been on constant duress this entire game. I don't know how he's surviving back there.
And to think, there's still a long way to go in this football game.
At their own 20-yard line.
Now trotting out there, the Packers getting ready to go. They are clicking on all cylinders. They seem to be just scoring at will right now, and that's why they've opened up this big lead.
You know, we always talk about getting into the zone, and all athletes are seeking that, aren't they? Where everything is working for them, every move they make works, it clicks, and they are on point right now.
Yeah, they are in that zone that you're talking about. Coming up at the half, a reminder, we go back to Orlando to check in with Jonathan Coachman. He'll have a look back at our first half as well as a look ahead to what's coming up later this weekend. And he still has yet to get on track in this first half as they're going to stop him behind the line. It'll be a loss of 1, and that'll lead here to a 3rd down.
No. 58. 51
to Mike.
Cat 300. Cat 300. White left. Right now. You got 58. You ain't got nothing.
Switch.
Shotgun now for Rodgers. He's got Adams on the hookup. Rodgers finding Adams for a Packer first.
26.
If you're going to blitz, likely going to leave you in man coverage with this guy, and that is less than ideal.
It is because just about any offense that has an elite receiver, if you blitz and have...
And a big loss here as he's taken down. Devon Kennard. Give him the credit for the sack and a loss of 14 yards. So after the sack, a scenario you certainly don't work on too often. 2nd and 24. Here's Rodgers. He's going to float this one deep right side. Oh, nearly picked. And maybe lucky there. This guy doesn't drop many defensively. 3rd down.
Well, partner, they're not content to run this one out as we head towards the half, trying to hit a big chunk play right there and add to their score.
Yeah, this is a confident group. At the very least, they're thinking field goal.
Yeah, and I don't blame them one bit. I don't think you sit on the ball going into the half when you have a chance to put some more points on the board.
An incomplete pass on that last play, and that means they'll need to come up with something here on 3rd down.
Mike, I got you, pump. Showing it.
Shotgun now for Rodgers. And it's going to be incomplete. He was able to catch it there on the right sideline, but out of bounds, says the line judge. And it's going to bring up 4th down. On 4th down, J.K. Scott ready to punt it away. Jamal Agnew is deep to return it.
Let's go. Let's do it.
At their own 13-yard line.
Here's the Detroit offense now as they head back out onto the field. Now we're under 20 seconds to go in the half. I'm guessing the wise play here is be safe.
That is the wise play because if you think about trying to fool them here, here's what you're facing. You're facing a loosened up secondary, playing a lot deeper than normal. So even if you run some type of misdirection, you're only going to fool them for a second or so. And guess what? They're so deep, they're really not going to be out of position. Take the knee, get to the locker room.
We have hit. And now due to apparent time constraints, we fast forward to the beginning of the 2nd half. Both teams appear ready for the fight ahead, and we resume action here in quarter number 3. And this will be a touchback as that sails over the end line. Stafford and the Lions now have it 1st and 10 at their own 25-yard line. And they start the second half with Johnson. And not much to speak of. Call it a 1-yard gain up to the 26. You know, despite the scoreline, I think they've got to like where they are here. They're on the road and just one big play away from getting right back in this game.
I'm going to follow right along with you because the spot they're in now is a credit to their defense. They've kept them in it by making the plays that they've made, and that just means you're one big score away from being right back there.
Now, the question is, can this offense step up and make that play? Because that's been an issue for them in this game. This offense in desperate need of a conversion as they come up on 3rd down. The shotgun snap for Stafford. Rush coming, and he's taken down. Rashawn Gary has now recorded 10 sacks on the season. He's looking for another 4-sack game. That's how many he had last week. That's his 3rd.
And when I watch him rush the passer, the thing that always comes to mind for me is how well he uses his hands. The martial arts stuff that a lot of guys do in the offseason to work on those, paying dividends for him. He's getting home in a big way.
So good starting field position for him here as they come up 1st and 10.
Hey, you block over here. Check 15. Check 15.
They'll run on 1st down. It's Grant. And that play went nowhere. Losing yardage. It'll be back at the 36. That's going to go as a loss of 4, and it'll be 2nd down. So the first play of the drive lost 4. Now they'll look to move it forward here on 2nd and 14. They go back to Grant. And he'll grab a gain of 5 out of this up to the 41-yard line.
Running lanes were at a premium in the first half, but he's able to find some room there, and he's hoping that that's a precursor of a big second half.
The Packers on 3rd down. They've been okay, 2 for 3 thus far. This is 3rd and 9.
Check 4.
From the gun, Rodgers. He's got his man, Valdez-Scantling. And out of bounds on the other side of midfield at the 45. 14 yards, good for a Packer 1st down.
Number 50. Hey, you block over here. Scan 300. Scan 300.
Check. Crunch. Crunch. Crunch.
Rodgers now on 1st down. There goes a deep ball, end zone. And incomplete, he dropped it in the end zone.
I guess they figure with a guy who is that hot downfield, who knows how to get the ball into the end zone, you throw it up and give him every opportunity, even though that one fell incomplete.
Yeah, he's already been in the end zone multiple times, tried to target him again deep there, but unsuccessful. The throw over the middle taken in, and he goes down, but not before getting this inside the 25. 22 yards there, a 1st down. And he's certainly been a huge factor in this when he's got the 2 touchdowns to his credit. Now they look to him again. He picks up the 1st.
Yeah, I can hear everyone saying, well, why don't you cover him, double him, triple him, do what you have to do. But sometimes they get locked into such a groove and such a connection, it doesn't matter how many guys are in his area.
He certainly looks to be in that groove right now. Throwing on 1st down is Rodgers. That is caught inside the 5. And he's going to take it in. Touchdown, Packers. 4 touchdown passes now for Aaron Rodgers. And the Packers add 6 to their lead. Crosby connects on the extra point, and the lead now to 3 touchdowns at 21. Now after the touchdown, here's Crosby to kick it away. And they will not get a chance to return this one as it's through the end zone for a touchback. Stafford and the Lions now have it 1st and 10 at their 25-yard line.
Switch. Hey, watch it.
10. Omaha, ready, move.
Faking the give to Johnson. Now it's Stafford. And that's going to be incomplete. Too tough to hold on to that one. It's 2nd down. We saw this a lot in the first half, and it continues. These receivers just not able to get much separation.
So that means they have to win the 50-50 balls. They've got to go up with the defender and find a way to start coming down with them.
And this time, contact and another incomplete pass. An incomplete pass leads to 2nd and 10 from the 25.
32. 40 got.
Throwing again. Stafford. And this is going to be incomplete. Danny Amendola, the man he was trying to get it to. And that'll make it 3rd down. Just a little beyond the reach there of his receiver. That's probably one he wishes he had back.
He wishes it had been 7-on-7 in practice, or maybe even routes versus air, because that's a completion he makes, 9.9 times out of 10? Just missed that one.
Throwing on 3rd down, Stafford. He's got Curse. And he's got this almost to the 40 before going out. It's a gain of 14 and a 1st down for Detroit.
14. And the Lions 1st down.
So from the 39 now, they'll come up on a 1st and 10.
Hey. 21. To the middle.
To the air again, Stafford. Airing one deep for Curse. And that is incomplete. Showed off the arm strength there, but to no avail. 2nd down.
This defense is continuing to contest every deep ball that is thrown downfield. And, look, it doesn't matter whether you're playing man or zone. Eventually, that becomes man-on-man, and you got to trust yourself and go up at that moment of truth and make a play on the football.
So line of scrimmage still at 39 on 2nd and 10. And the Packers give him nowhere to go, and they bring him down. Give the sack to Blake Martinez.
So one quick, easy analysis about why they've struggled so far. They keep putting themselves in 3rd and long situations. They just took another sack right there.
And the offensive film session tomorrow may be a little longer than it normally is.
Not a lot of positive grades will be handed out thus far.
3rd and long. It's Stafford. Into heavy traffic, and it's intercepted. Picked up by Darnell Savage, the rookie from Maryland. And he'll get this one out to the 50 to the midfield stripe. He couldn't hook up with Amendola there. But why do you go out and spend a 1st-round pick on a defensive back? Plays like that. The rookie gets his 1st interception.
You have to have guys who can limit the other team's number of plays run and possessions. And no better way than an interception. And what a great way to break into the league.
Credit him with a 1-yard gain there to make it 2nd and 9.
The way things have gone in this one, the running game's been something of an afterthought, and that's not been too bad for them, has it?
Yeah, the offensive returns have been good, but I guess we figured he in the ground game would be a bit more involved. And a big loss here as he's taken down. Devon Kennard, his 2nd sack of the night.
Sometimes I watch games and wonder why they use play fakes on certain passing situations because it's not going to fool anyone. I don't know if that was the case here, but the end result was the same. No one fooled. The quarterback was hit.
On 3rd and long, it's Rodgers. Trying to lay one up deep. And that is caught one-handed. Oh, my, he pulled it in. A big play there. Rodgers to Adams. 42 yards.
1st down. 1st and 10 at the 22-yard line.
So the ball moves into Lion territory now. Here's 1st and 10 at the 22-yard line. Back now at Lambeau. A lot of happy faces in the crowd at this point as their guys have a big lead here to start quarter number 4. Now a 1st down carry by Jones. And able to push his way forward here for a good little gain. 5 yards is the tally on first down. That brings up 2nd and 5. After the pickup of 5, here's 2nd and 5. Throwing is Rodgers. Out to the flat. That's complete to his running back. And he'll get it down this time to the 17. They follow up the gain of 5 by only getting 1 there on 2nd down.
I know most of the time when the ball's in the air, you're thinking wide receiver, tight end, but running backs, they can be a big part of any passing offense nowadays.
The Packers on 3rd down. They've been near perfect, 4 for 5 to this point. This will be 3rd and 5. They'll try the left side. Grant fights off the defender. And he will be brought down at about the 6-yard line. They get the first. The decision to run on 3rd and medium winds up being a good one.
Brandon, unfortunately, I've been here before. They've had 2 opportunities to stop them, so this is demoralizing. They haven't gotten it done. Now you're calling all your blitzes, all your attack defenses, but you're not worried about playing your normal position. You're going to take chances now.
Well, you said it. 2 third-down opportunities to get off the field. Couldn't do it, and the clock continues to roll. From the 2 now, 2nd and goal.
I'm going to run you over. I'm going to run you when I get
They'll try to run this one in. Shoves him aside. And a second effort gets him in. Touchdown, Packers. Corey Grant, his 5th touchdown now on the year. And the Packers add on to their lead. Crosby with the extra point, and that'll increase their lead to 28. Now after the touchdown, here's Crosby to kick it away. This is taken at his 4. And he'll take this across the 25, a couple extra yards, up to the 27-yard line. Stafford and the Lions now have it 1st and 10 at their own 27. They begin the drive with Johnson. And maybe a measure of revenge there. He's had his way in this one, but this time they get him behind the line. They'll wind up losing 4 yards on the play. And that's going to make it 2nd and 14. Back to throw. Stafford. Over the middle, it's Amendola. Now after the completion, we're going to get a timeout, an injured player. While he gets attended to, we'll step aside. The Lions on 3rd down. They've had their troubles, just 1 for 6. They're up against a 3rd and 1 situation.
Hey, go here!
And that one covered beautifully. Their defenders stayed home, and they'll stop him behind the line. And a loss of 3 to bring up 4th. Here's Sam Martin now. He's been one of their few bright spots so far. He steps into this one, and this is a rocket. And problems spreading to the punt team now. This one goes all the way into the end zone on the fly, so that'll come back to the 20.
Set, hut. Hey, hold on. 51 to Mike. Here we go, D. Here I come. Here I come.
And he'll be upended after a gain of 5, up to the 25-yard line. And when do they start thinking about burning these timeouts? They've got all 3 still defensively.
To me, you have to start right now. Here's the time, and that means you've got to stop them on defense, not give up the yardage, use your timeouts in order to get the ball back and try and score yourself. But now is the time to start using those timeouts.
And keep in mind, it'll also stop the clock at the 2-minute warning. And from the 25, they work this to the 29, a gain of 4.
Bottom line, they want to keep this clock rolling, so they'll take that one right there. They just want to keep falling forward, and they want to put the onus on the big fellas up front in order to bring this one home.
Back to normal. Hey, let's go. Come. Hey, foxtrot. Mike,
Rodgers to throw on 3rd and 1. He's going to float this one deep right side. And that'll wind up incomplete. Bold play call there. Now it's 4th down.
Finally a good play there defensively on the deep ball. The secondary has had its struggles this entire game. Offensively, they've had their way with them.
Let's go, let's go. At their own 18-yard line.
Stafford and the Lions now have it 1st and 10 at their own 18.
Check three, check three, check three.
And they'll start the drive on the ground with Johnson. And he is going to be stopped cold behind the line of scrimmage. That's going to go as a loss of 1 on 1st down.
Brings up 2nd and 11 at the 17-yard line.
Just 2 minutes remaining here in the 4th quarter of what has been a one-sided affair. So the Lions in possession of the football as we welcome you back. And let's see what they've come up with offensively after having time to talk it over. Again, it's Johnson. And not a whole lot to speak of there as they'll bring him down shy of the 20. On the tackle that time, Dean Lowry.
And this is why aggressive defensive coordinators love to blitz. It wreaks havoc because they end up taking their attention to the blitzers, freed up the D lineman to make the play.
The Lions on 3rd down. It's been a problem. Just 1 for 7 thus far. This is 3rd and 10. And able to find the rookie Travis Fulgham. And he's just going to be short here. Barely. Maybe by a half a foot. It'll be 4th and inches.
But it brings up 4th down.
All right, they're going to try and keep hope alive here on 4th down. They're going for it.
Check 37. Hey, give me radar.
They snap it to Stafford. It's caught. Jones. And out across midfield down to the 45. Now, no reason not to try it there, and they do indeed convert on 4th. Offense for them has been at a premium. You wonder where plays like that have been all game long.
They're thinking the exact same thing themselves, but they're also looking forward now because now these plays are really for next week, trying to get some momentum going. It's a tough one right there. He ran right into the teeth of the blitz as the linebacker was freed up in order to stuff that one for a loss. I think quarterbacks got to see that. Got to find a way to audible into something a little more advantageous.
A scrap for the football, and he's going to come down with it. A gain of 28 yards there and give him a 1st down. So it's all over. A Green Bay victory. And, it wasn't a shutout. They did give up the points in the first quarter.